I have enough money to buy an excavator yet?
No.
Aww. Do I have enough money to buy a go-kart?
Yeah.
Hopefully,
All right, we finally broke ground up at the mountain property, so we are officially underway. Came up here this evening just to check things out. Brought the buck crew, so got these three gentlemen back there. They're the heavy hitters, supervisors, make sure everything stays on schedule for this project. But we're excited, looking forward to getting the excavation completed, getting the block work done, so we can start framing. So we are underway officially after about a year and a half of going through different pieces of paperwork with the county and making sure we get everything in line to get approval on the building permit, which we did on the first submission, so didn't have to resubmit anything, but spent some time and a whole lot of money getting engineering stamps and official surveying site plans to make sure we get all of our elevations correct. This is a critical slope area of the county of East Tennessee, so there's a little bit extra that we have to do in the way of making sure that we are abiding by county regulations. So a lot of that just equates to dishing out more money. So probably about a 200% increase in what normally would be spent for getting a building permit, but it's what was needed. So glad to have that behind us. But yeah, about a year and a half in, and we're finally breaking ground and super excited to get going. So watch along as we build out this mountain property and develop this piece of land, and just so excited and, you know, praising Jesus that we got to this point. All right, we're up here at the mountain property. It's been about 6 days since we broke ground, and we got some good progress going on. We've had a crew with a D5 bulldozer and a Cat 310 excavator up here working diligently for the last 6 days. So we got a driveway cut in, we got a house seat almost completed there. Just got to finish widening out a little bit, dig some footers, and then start working on the septic system. But I'll show you around a little bit here on what's going on. But unsurprisingly, we hit a lot of rock, and I think there's more rock than there is actual dirt up here, so that may pose a problem when we dig out for our septic system. Obviously we don't want to be putting rock back over to the tile, so may end up having to spend a little bit more money and trucking in some appropriate dirt to put on there. But that's a little further down the hill. When we cut the driveway, there wasn't as much rock, so I'm hoping that holds true for this area that we'll be cutting into for that septic system and that leach field. But all in all, I think I'm pretty happy with the progress. I have to shift the house seat a little bit. The alternative to that is having to put the hammer on the excavator and hammer out a lot of rock. So that's an expense I don't want to get into. So if we can push the house seat out a little bit where the dirt is a little bit more appropriate to dig in, then we'll do that. So still weighing that. Could be an option that if I needed to, we can hammer out that rock, but trying to avoid that right now, trying to stay on schedule as well. But we got some nice views. Not sure how that's going to work out quite yet with where the house is going to sit. We have to get further up into the property to really appreciate those higher up views. That's just not where the house is going. So we'll see in the end how much of it we actually capture. We'll turn you around here. So maybe a little difficult to see some of the mountain peaks or the ranges, but they're there. It'll be a seasonal view as well. Once the leaves start to fall here in a few months, we'll get a better view here. And there's a couple more trees that I'll end up cutting down just to be able to capture that view a little bit. But let me walk you around and show you what we're working with here. We're sitting on about 1.5 acres. It is in that critical slope of the county. So just have to be a little more aware of what we're doing and abiding by the county regulations for our driveway, for runoff, for the slope, for utility lines, as well as just protecting the environment as well. So just some added things we have to do which aren't typically part of a build process outside of a critical slope area. But that's what the county wants, and that's what the county will get, so we can get our CO, our certificate of occupancy, and be able to enjoy this property. But let me flip you around and I'll show you kind of the driveway coming up. There is a switchback in there. I think it's going to be pretty close to 24-25% on the driveway grade there, which we need to be at 25 or below per the county code. So we'll get that. If you're not used to driving in mountains or in this part of East Tennessee, at first approach it's probably going to look a little hazardous, and that's pretty normal if you're coming from a flat area of the country, say Florida, and you come up here in the East Tennessee mountains and the driveways are just steep, just how it is. Definitely not the steepest driveway by any means for any of the properties around this area. So right now the plan is just to gravel that, get a really hard gravel bed down, and we'll see how the two-wheel drive vehicles come up the driveway. Should be okay. If not, may asphalt that in the future, or look at another alternative, because it will be rented out. I want to make sure that the people that are renting it feel comfortable and safe driving of it, regardless of where they're coming from in the country and what they're used to driving on. But for me, it's not an issue, but for others it may be, so just want to be accommodating there. So I'll turn you around so you can kind of see where the house seat is going. So I had to dig out quite a bit. We're probably, these dirt walls are probably 15 feet tall, maybe a little less in some areas. So we'll see if we can scrape a little bit of that back. We do have a big rock shear wall that will actually probably end up being the retaining wall. It's been there for thousands of years and don't think it's going anywhere, and it's pretty deep into the mountain and pretty long, almost runs the entire length of the house. But here's the wall here. And here's a pile of rock that we've dug out from the hillside. Not too horrible in the way of rock. It's manageable with the 310 excavator they have up here. They have a thumb on it so they can pick it up and pretty much just place it wherever they need to. We were able to use some rock on the driveway in the corner there to really get a hard pack down area there, so it won't have any slippage in that corner there. But this rock is all normal for this part of the county. I was expecting a little less. My neighbor had cut in, and I don't believe he had hit quite this much rock, but we were lucky enough that we had the rock on our property. So we'll use it somewhere, pile it up, probably make a rock garden. But we got some fairly decent dirt here. It's got a lot of shale in it. We'll probably use that further down the driveway to get a really hard packed road coming up in here. Still may end up having to bring in some 2.5-3 inch gravel just to get that driveway nice and hard. But that's where we currently sit. Probably gonna have to fill in a little bit for some parking. It's getting a little tight up here, tighter than what I originally expected, but we're working through it. So this is all part of construction. It's all normal things that we have to work through, so we'll get it.
Dad, I did pretty good.
You did good?
Yeah. Can I make it rough Mommy can go up here.
Yeah.